If you are under 2000 ELO and you want to improve at chess, then the most important skill you need to improve at is calculation. I am rated over 2000 ELO rapid on chess.com and I will show you how I think during my games. This video will help you a lot, especially if you are an intermediate chess player or advanced. Okay, so now the game started with the move d4. I'm playing with white and my opponent is playing with black. And now my opponent played c6. Now, if I played e4, it's going to be the Caro-Kann after d5, and if I played c4, it's going to be the Slav defense. If you are a beginner, you don't really need to know that, but if you are an intermediate or advanced, you should definitely know that because you need to work on your openings if you want to really improve at chess. So now d4 and c4. He plays d5. It is the Slav defense. I take and he takes back, and then I develop my knight to c3. Here he developed his knight as well, and in the opening phase we don't think that much. None of us spend any time. I played bishop f4 because here you just want to develop all your pieces and then do something. Okay, I'm not trying to go for this move, trying to fork him here because it will not work. So if now he played knight f6. If I played knight b5 now, he can just play this check, right? And I have to block, and I'm gonna lose my knight, so I have to go back with the knight. So this move does not really work. So there's no use of playing this move because I know that I'll be forced to go back. So I played e3, opening up for the other bishop and still developing my pieces. He played this move to try to stop me from playing bishop b5. So here I played the move a3. a3 because I wanted to develop my bishop to d3, but I didn't want him to play the move knight b4, attacking my bishop. I didn't want him to take my bishop, and I didn't want to go back bishop b1, so I was like, okay, a3 to prepare the move bishop d3, and he will not have knight b4 to attack my bishop. He moved his bishop here because if I played bishop d3, maybe he wants to exchange bishops, and I didn't like it. So in this position, I played the move h4. Now, I'm playing with white, and I know that black wants to activate this bishop and wants to castle his king. So he cannot really play the move e5 because that's just a free pawn, right? So I knew that he was going to play e6 to get his bishop out and try to castle. So I already thought of this, and I played the move h4 because I knew he's going to play this, and now the bishop might be stuck. Right, because if I manage to storm with the pawns, I might get his bishop and win the bishop, and I'll be in a very good shape. So now he played e6, but I cannot play g4 right away because it is attacked twice and it's only defended by the queen. So in this position, I played bishop g5. I played bishop g5 because many players at this level, they want to castle their king and they want to activate the bishop. So usually they play bishop e7, right? Or they play maybe bishop d6 and they try to castle. And now my idea was that I wanted to take the knight no matter what he does. And when that happens, let's say he played bishop e7 and I take, and he takes back, now there's nothing stopping me from playing the move g4. That's why I went bishop to g5, to remove the defender of this square on the g4 square. So I knew he was going to play bishop e7 because he wanted to develop his piece and try to castle. It's a completely natural move, but it is a wrong move, and it was a trap set by me, and he fell for it. So I played bishop takes f6, and he immediately took back, and now there's nothing stopping the pawn from going to g4, so I did that. And now you might be thinking that, yes, now white is winning. Well, white has an advantage, but we're definitely not winning the bishop. You might be thinking about, well, what? Well, bishop e4, you just play f3, and the bishop cannot go here, cannot go here, cannot go here, so the bishop goes all the way back to g6. White plays h5, and now the bishop is trapped. What are you talking about? Well, this is not how a 2000 ELO rated player think in chess. We think deeper than this. We think about all the options. Okay? Here at this position, you might be thinking, oh, I just play f3 and he needs to move the bishop. At this level, we don't think this way. If we played f3, we have to think about all the other options that might be very, threatening to us. So if I played f3, so when I was here, I wanted to play g4, and I knew he was going to go e4, bishop e4. And if I played f3, he doesn't need to move the bishop because he can go bishop takes h4 check, defended by the queen. So g4, bishop e4, f3, and now he just goes bishop takes h4. I cannot take, it's defended by the queen. I'm gonna lose my rook, so I have to move my king. And then he goes back to bishop g6, and there is no h5 to win the bishop. I lost my pawn. My king is now in the center of the board, and he just won a pawn. So this is very bad. This is what I saw when I decided to play the move g4. So g4, bishop here, and I knew if I played f3, I will be in a very deep trouble. So here I had to think about another option. Actually here, when I wanted to play the move g4, I knew I was going to go here, and I cannot play f3, so I needed to think about something else. g4, he goes here, which is the only move, and then I will take the bishop. After he takes back with the pawn, first of all, he has double pawns. Second of all, the bishop is in front of the pawn, so he cannot play f5 no matter what to try to defend the pawn on e4. So after g4, bishop e4, knight takes, pawn takes, this pawn is significantly weak, and this is a dark square bishop, cannot defend this pawn. So I wanted to play bishop g2 to win the pawn, but we have to focus. If we play bishop g2, he can just take this pawn on h4. So I decided to play g5, the bishop went back, and then I played bishop g2, and now I'm attacking this. He cannot go for f5 because I can go en passant and then take the pawn after that. So he needed to defend the pawn, so he played, first of all, queen a5 check. Now, since my queen is defending the rook, so I can play the move b4 because he cannot sacrifice. Because after takes, he will not win my rook because it is already defended. So b4, the queen moved here trying to defend the pawn, and here I had an option. Either queen c2, queen b1, queen g4, to try to add more pressure here. He cannot defend the pawn. He cannot play this move f5 because I already told you, we go en passant, and then we try to win the pawn because we're just going to win it. But at this level, even though the top engine move in this position is to play queen c2, and now you're adding 2 attackers to the pawn and you will 100% win it. But I was like, this move, my king is still not safe, my knight is not developed, so I was like, this pawn is very weak, he cannot defend it, so there is no point of rushing, and I played knight e2, because if he did something else, I would play knight c3, attacking the queen, attacking the pawn, or then I can play queen c2 and then try to castle my king. So here, I'm focusing about developing all of my pieces. I don't need to rush to attack this pawn on e4. I will get this pawn because it's significantly weak and he cannot defend it in any way. So in this position, he played the move e5, trying to do something. Now, here I have options. I can take the pawn, I can play knight c3, and I can move my queen to c2. These are called candidate moves. In each position, after the opening phase, you have candidate moves to think about. Okay, it doesn't mean that only one move that it is the best move and others are bad. You can choose whatever you want depending on what kind of position you're aiming to have. So I was thinking about taking this pawn. Of course, he cannot take with the knight because he will lose his queen for free. So after it takes, I was thinking, what if he takes me here? So if I take with the pawn, he takes my queen, I take back with the rook, he takes this pawn, and I go bishop takes e4. So now you can see my bishop is really strong, my pawns are really strong, my knight is really strong, the rook is already developed, I'm going to castle and I'm up a pawn, so this is a great position for me. So I was like, okay, I'm okay with this kind of position. Okay, but what if I take and he didn't take my queen, he takes with the pawn. Sorry, he takes the pawn. Okay, so after pawn takes, queen takes. Then I thought about queen b1 to add 2 attackers to the pawn, and he cannot defend no matter what. I will win the pawn, and I will be, I will have an advantage. So I decided to take the pawn. He takes with the queen, and I played queen b1. Now, I should not play queen c2 because yes, I'm attacking the pawn twice, but I'm removing the defender of the rook. So this is why most of you, and most of us actually blunder during our games, okay? I'm not better than you, and when it comes to blundering, all of us blunder, even at 2000 rated players blunder. Here, and most of us play a move like these because we're too much focused on winning a pawn or having an advantage to the point that we lose um, the connection between the pieces. So that's why you have to play queen b1, not queen c2, because then you will lose your rook. So I played queen b1, and now two pieces attacking the pawn, and he cannot defend them. Okay, and now my opponent castled his king, and now I took with the bishop. I cannot take with the queen because we're moving the defender, right? So bishop takes e4, and I'm adding pressure to the pawn on h7. He pushes his pawn here, and whenever you see this kind of pawn structure, you know your opponent is really messed it up, and you have to attack. You have to play h5. You have to open up lines to get in with some checks, to get in with the rook. But I was thinking about the move h5, but this move draws the game. White in this position I have like over 2.5 advantage or 2.2 advantage. If I play this move, it's already a draw because I lost my advantage. I lost this pawn. So the move here is to play f4 to prepare to defend the pawn and attacking the queen, and then preparing for the move h5. He moved his queen, I played h5, and he cannot take because I can give a check first, then take with the rook, and he will be losing this game no matter what because too much pressure on the king and there are no defenders close to the king. So in this position, he played rook to e8, and here I decided to take because whenever you can open up lines for your rook against the enemy king, you should do that, no matter what. I took here, and now, if he takes here, for example, I was thinking about sacrificing the bishop, and he cannot take me, because after queen takes g6, this is checkmate. So I was thinking about sacking, but then he pushed the pawn, and this move is bad. This move is bad because he thought that after this kind of a check, he can escape. So after a check like this, he can escape here, and he will be safe. But of course, I wouldn't do that. I have queen b3 check. He cannot block in any kind of way. If his king went to h8 or to g7, there will be checkmate with the rook. So if he went here, this is checkmate, and if he blocked with the rook, then queen takes f7 check, king moves here, and no need to take the rook, just as like queen h7 checkmate. So this is how I think in chess. Okay, and this is just a simple game. I can make a better video, longer video looking at more complicated positions, but this is for intermediate chess players, okay, and beginners. So I'm trying to make the video understandable for most chess players watching, and you can think in this way in your games. I can help you improve your calculation skill, which is the most important skill to improve at chess. I will help you do that through personalized videos, providing you first of all with a training plan, and then looking at your games and provide deep and valuable analysis, just like this one and even deeper than this. And it's going to be just like this video, and it's for you. And it's your own games. I won't be looking at some grandmaster games or my own games. I will be taking your own games and analyzing every single one of them that you're going to play them. Only rapid games, okay? So, if you are interested, feel free to reach out to me through email. I will leave my email in the description below, and thanks for watching.